2016 has been a particularly divisive year. I thought that debacle would never end. It barely feels like yesterday since it started. And on both sides of the issue, people were absolutely livid. People were, particularly online, rampantly engaging in vindictive campaigns of hatred and degradation, each trying to one-up the other with snide one-liners to prove how right they were and how wrong you were, each taking their own representative corner of the internet to reinforce their ideals. You were either a shill social justice warrior cuck or a prejudiced fascist hateful piece of shit. I tell you, the launch of Undertale really brought the worst out of people. But for a breath of fresh air, I suppose instead of reveling in the dysfunction, cynicism and rampant celebrity death this year brought forth, like the usual flam you all know and love would, send off a rather hostile year with some video games. Let's be honest, I'm not doing this purely out of the goodwill of my heart. Honestly, I'd love to self-style myself as a sharp political commentator, gleaning witty insights into society like a Jon Stewart or a Bill Maher, or even a Patricia Hernandez. I unfortunately can't escape the stark reality that anyone, myself included, who publicly spews political commentary that are under the age of 30 and expects to be taken seriously are a colossal knobhead. With that being said, we can actually move on to the previously mentioned video games, and talk about some bullshit nobody really cares about. Doom. It's just a fun game. I mean, yeah, straight up, no nonsense fun. It balances campy excess with just the right amount of seriousness to prevent the game from becoming too self-aware or ironic. That allows the player to keep invested in the action, while maintaining the impression of genuine awe and excitement. It's just a fun game. Games like Duke Nukem Forever or Serious Sam can sometimes step over the boundaries from campy fun to full-blown parody of excess. And that can be fun, but this feels more, I don't know, classy? Can you say a game about a guy beating demons to death is classy? I don't know. I mean, I suppose not. Dead by Daylight. It's a novel concept with a fitting art style and sound design. The general game design is decent and the monster design is excellent. There's something about Dead by Daylight that, gosh, I just can't quite put my finger on it, but it just stops me from having any fun. And I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm just bitter and cynical. I don't know. But there's something quite not right with the game. Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 is the worst thing to happen to me since my violent, drunken Catholic mother pushed me through a window. A strong opening gambit, I know. With that said, while I acknowledge the untruths within it, which I regret, my mother isn't a Catholic. Also, Dark Souls 3 isn't quite as horrible as all that. It's just an extremely boring game. There are only so many times I can go for a grey-brown undead castle, fighting undead foot soldiers, and then fighting a large guy with a sword at the end of it all. And the Dark Souls series up to this point had already done this many times. To have approximately half the levels in Dark Souls 3 also be this was just beyond irritating. It's not just the soul-sucking lack of imagination and innovation. The awful PvP was the final straw for me. There wasn't anything even redemptive about the multiplayer aspect of the game. The game was just so empty of anything memorable that I can actually think back nostalgically to the rubble that blocked off the path to Drangleic Castle with nostalgia, with fucking nostalgia. I'm thinking about plot-convenient rubble blocking your way, and that's like imaginative. I can't remember a damn thing about Dark Souls 3, save for my mild annoyance at the constant callbacks and references to the first game. So for me personally, it felt like Dark Souls 3 didn't do enough to innovate or improve upon what was already there, and instead spent far too much time retreading over past glory. Street Fighter V! Uh-oh, Spaghetti-O! This game's pretty controversial. It's probably the most universally panned fighting game by people that never played it. And among those that have played it, there's a big division about whether or not it's any good. Even at that. With plenty of dank memes and sweet dreams, tearing the game apart, beckoning people to play other fighting games, and then refusing to do so. Spending each and every day complaining about Street Fighter V, rather than, you know, just playing another fighting game or something. And to be fair, many of the criticisms of Street Fighter V are more than just fair, they're totally accurate. The game servers are wonky, the matchmaking is dubious, there's huge issues with the netcode. The game lacks a lot of basic features and tutorials to help new players learn the game. The character balance, while not terrible, isn't amazing either. It would be nice if the input delay got reduced a little bit more. I wish normals had longer range. I wish normals were faster. I wish they didn't nerf Fang. Oh god, why did they nerf Fang? Fucking hell, why do they keep nerfing Fang? But, and this is a big but, I do believe, at its very core, the game is good. It's my most played game of last year by a fairly wide margin. What can I say? I like it. Under the following criteria, I would recommend Street Fighter V. If you have at least one friend, your internet connection is good, and you don't live in the middle of nowhere, and you have access to a controller, and you are interested in a very competitive format, with the knowledge going in that you're going to get very little help from the game system itself to learn and that you'll probably have to external resources, then sure, I'd recommend Street Fighter V. It's fun. Once you get past all that, yeah, okay. Overwatch. Da 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 da. Game of the year. Apparently, according to fucking everyone. But to me, it's the quintessential game you only play because your friends only play that game and they refuse to play anything else. It's sufficient. That's the first I can be with Overwatch, because if I get any further down the rabbit hole, it's gonna get really bad. I'm sorry, but fuck you! Suffice to say, there's a lot about the game that's very agitating to play on a casual level, but at the same time the game lacks any of the depth, fun, or complexity that would make me take it seriously, so it's caught in this weird limbo. In a design sense, Overwatch just seems like it's totally at odds with itself. And it needs to make up its mind whether it's a light-hearted casual shooter or whether it wants to give in to its aspirations of serious competitive play, because right now it's doing a mediocre job at both. There are characters with tools that are extremely strong, so that they need specific counterplay and strategies to deal with, but at the same time the game lacks any real depth or complexity outside of counterpicking, so it's just not very fun. I could rant for an entire video about this alone, and in fact I even drafted an entire script discussing all my problems I had with the game. I don't know whether I'll post that later or whether I'll actually even bother making that a video, but nobody watches my videos, so who gives a fuck really. I mean, I can have fun playing McCree and just shooting people. That's kind of fun. I mean, it's not bad. It's not that bad, right? Yeah? Okay, I can say that. It's not that bad. Yeah, Overwatch, it's not that bad. If you have friends who all play this game, maybe you can bite the bullet and just get it yourself. You might enjoy it. I can't say for sure. Maybe I'm just a whiny bitch. I don't know. Killing Floor 2. Yeah, that came out. Gotcha. The Walking Dead: The New Frontier. Well, I can say right off the bat I wouldn't really recommend this game, but as a side note, I do think this is better than Season 2. Not by a lot, but the problems of Season 2 are very much alive and well in Season 3. I mean, this is going to be spoilers, right? I'm just going to say that right off the gate, but it's the first 2 episodes, so who gives a shit? Okay, so within the very first episode, 2 major characters are killed, a third is nearly killed, and an entire town population is butchered and murdered. This is the first episode. Remember what happened in the first episode of The Walking Dead? Your side characters gets killed by an action you directly cause. And that was the big shock moment. The first episode was 2 hours long. The first 2 episodes of Season 2 are 2 hours long. In general, it's still got that big pacing problem. Why the fuck should you care about Clementine's endless suffering or random innocent child number 32 dying when you barely get any time to actually get to know them? The general storytelling overall is quite nihilistic with no chance of hope, since the entire Walking Dead storyline is find a group, become member of group, group is attacked by zombies, find civilization, civilization attacked by bandits, repeat over and over and over again. I wish Season 3 had taken more steps to break free of that. The new protagonist actually seemed pretty interesting, and his background story and his interpersonal relationships with his family were definitely more interesting than anything we've seen before, but then Clementine shows up again and she takes the center stage and just badasses her way through the rest of the series. I find it hard to be optimistic about it, but I'll play the whole thing before I truly make up my mind. Whether or not I'm going to make a meme video or a proper analytic video about it, I don't know. But I can say right now that wait till sales at the very least. Total Warhammer is probably worth your money. Well, Civilization 6. This game is a nice relaxing experience. You got Xion Bion in the background telling you about him being fond of pigs. You've got a very tranquil, nostalgic art style, and a fitting orchestral background to match the beats of Civilization. So what's the catch? The city building is great, the new districts idea is really well handled, I think, and the fact that wonders aren't just the I win button is a nice addition to the game. I like that. So there's a big but coming here, and I know you're expecting it, and anyone who's played this will know what the but is. Diplomacy is fucking terrible, and the AI is absolute pants. I'm not just some idealistic polygon writer saying that Civilization should totally be free from warfare and I should be able to play Civilization without warfare whatsoever, right? That would be dumb. That would be very dumb and very ignorant. But does everyone have to do it all the time? Constantly? It feels wrong that you can't form meaningful diplomatic alliances with the AI, particularly when one of the major win conditions is supposed to be for doing so through the religious route. There's no repercussions to attacking a peaceful player, and at the same time, there's very little motivation to stay allied with people, and there's no motivation to help someone win a diplomatic victory. I don't know, it's not great. It's not great. Also this shit. Why is this allowed? Why can I not do anything about this? Why is my only option to attack the city and either take the city or raise the city and then be called a warmonger for the rest of the game? Why are they allowed to constantly break promises and I can't do anything? Why are they allowed to declare war on me and if I fight back, I'm a warmonger? So while I definitely recommend Civilization 6, I'd also definitely recommend that you only play with friends. And that about does it for my little wrap up of 2016 video games. There was a decent amount of fun video games in 2016. Not as bad as 2015 anyway, which had one fun video game. Anyway, I will catch you all never again. Or whenever, I don't know.
Don't forget to smash that like button.